In late 2025, a document began circulating on encrypted channels detailing Project Anchor. It claimed that on August 12, 2026, Earth's gravity would cease to exist for exactly 7 seconds. The leak described a global emergency where governments would retreat into underground bunker networks like Cheyenne Mountain. It predicted nearly 900 million deaths in the general population, a figure the document categorized as acceptable losses. NASA eventually debunked the story, pointing out that gravitational waves don't work like that. But the hoax went viral because the scenario felt familiar. It tapped into a widespread suspicion that the people running the country have already planned for a future that doesn't include the public. While the physical anomaly is fiction, the protocols described in the leak, from mass surveillance to the elite bunkers and the disposal of surplus populations, map directly onto a system of labor extraction and control that is already in place. This system targets specific vulnerabilities. Imagine a student who identifies as unreligious and holds liberal views. They've just fallen behind on a single student loan payment. In a previous era, this was a private financial matter. Today, that missed payment acts as a tripwire for stage 0 of a cross-agency digital dragnet. Platforms like Palantir's Gotham now integrate data across the Treasury and the IRS, allowing a sub-580 credit score to trigger flags in a dozen different systems. A single late payment cascades through a unified API layer, alerting the state to the student's economic instability. The algorithm combines this debt data with banking and housing records to generate a continuous risk score. By falling behind on a loan, the student has been mathematically reclassified as a liability for the state to manage. This economic flag marks them for further scrutiny, placing them at the starting point of a pipeline designed to move individuals from the formal economy into a state of permanent precarity. The state then layers ideological surveillance on top of economic status. A memo from Attorney General Pam Bondi explicitly directs the FBI to investigate anti-Americanism as a precursor to domestic terrorism. To find these indicators, federal agents are ordered to dig back 5 years into a citizen's social media history, using automated tools to scrape every post, like, and association. The memo lists triggers: anti-capitalism, anti-Christianity, and extremism on gender. When the system merges these ideological flags with a student's economic risk score, they are officially designated as a national security threat. This designation locks the student in place. The algorithmic flag triggers employment background check failures and denies them access to rental housing, effectively trapping them in a state of homelessness and unemployment. This process starts early. In South Carolina, Bill H-5073 bans grading floors, preventing teachers from giving students a minimum score. If a school district fails to enforce this, they lose 10% of their state funding, creating an environment where a single failed semester can leave a student with no legal way to graduate. Students who are pushed out of the classroom are funneled into the justice system, where programs like the Florida Youth College reclassify them as labor assets for the industrial and military sectors. Our politically flagged student, unable to find work or housing due to their risk score, is eventually captured by militarized enforcement agents tracking their every movement through platforms like Palantir's Immigration OS. Once they enter the legal system, they reach the final stage of the pipeline. The 13th Amendment contains a specific exception. It permits slavery as a punishment for crime. In several states, prisoners are sent to penal farms to harvest crops or perform industrial labor for zero pay. Many of these sites operate on the same plantation land where enslaved people toiled over a century ago. By treating dissent as a crime and using the 13th Amendment to monetize the results, the state creates a system of profound self-censorship. The goal is to make the public so afraid of the labor camps that they police their own thoughts and neighbors. This system of surveillance and forced labor is intended only for the public. The billionaires funding these technologies are actively engineering a way to leave the rest of humanity behind. The Project Anchor hoax was a distraction from a real retreat. Tech titans are moving their operations to unregulated jurisdictions, away from U.S. ethical oversight, to pursue radical experiments in human biology. Executives at major AI firms are now funding startups that aim to create the first children born from edited embryos. They are looking for environments where they can modify the human code without government interference. These elites are paying for polygenic screening to select embryos based on projected intelligence and personality traits. They are attempting to biologically insulate their own children from the precarious labor pool they've built for everyone else. In this view, the general population is a resource to be managed by algorithms and extracted through the carceral system, while the elite move toward a state of biological and economic total dominance. Resisting this system requires a refusal to be categorized. Protecting your personal data and maintaining the right to dissent isn't just about privacy. It's the only way to avoid becoming raw material